let's just say there was a memory recently unlocked, and I just wanted to share the story with you. It's a little bit weird, but it's something that happened when I was a teen, which was kind of like the right age to kind of sort of think I understood what was going on. But now I'm like kind of getting it that I'm older. Like I look back on it and I'm like, oh my god, that was a weird scenario. And then also it didn't scar me or anything. It's just something that I forgot, and then something happened recently and the memory got unlocked. So hey guys, don't forget to like the video so that I know that you're seeing my videos. Thank you to everybody who's been commenting. I really appreciate the comments. They boost my energy and they remind me what you guys like. Someone asked for a mic scratching video, and I'm gonna look into it and see what I can do for you. Someone really wants a cupped whispering video, and I think this is gonna be it, so I'm just gonna take off the mic. And actually no, today we're gonna just do a mic fluffing story time video, so I hope you don't mind the fluffing with the story time. I haven't done it in a long time. Okay, so there used to be this neighbor of ours who was a few years my senior, like no, about a decade my senior. So he was in his 20s whilst I was a teen, and he was kind of like uncouth, you know. What did I say? No, he was kind of like too much of an open book. I would say he was too much of an open book. He used to spill his own tea. He used to brag about things. And as I always do, I'm gonna call him Joe because that's all the crazy characters in my stories. So everybody just used to call him Uncle Joe. But the main reason why we called him Uncle Joe was because Uncle Joe was actually neighbor's friend's Uncle Joe. Does that make sense? So our neighbors were kind of our age mates, and they called him Uncle Joe, so he was Uncle Joe. So Uncle Joe, it was very unclear who Uncle Joe was, so we always thought at first that he was the neighbor's like actual uncle, like brother's brother type thing. He kind of looked a little bit like our neighbor, the dad. He looked like him a lot, so we just thought they were brothers. But Uncle Joe says one time Uncle Joe was over visiting. We're all sitting by the patio. This is not like something that commonly happens today with like cell phones and stuff. But back in the day when Paul wanted company, they would just kind of rock up to your place. I mean, I'm sure they still do. People still do that. But like when you don't have cell phones and stuff, you just kind of rock up to somebody's place. And like we were hanging outside on the front patio. We were playing games, and you know, we had like I can't say I grew up, it's not like we had a large family, but I grew up around a lot of people in and out of our house. So we were like a lot of us cousins and family friends and stuff like that hanging out. And so there were some people with age mates since us were younger. So Uncle Joe comes over. Okay, we're like talking to Uncle Joe saying, yo dude, you're pretty adulty, like what are you doing with your life? You have to understand, at that time we thought like 20s was grown. And Uncle Joe's like, me, I'm a hustler, I'm a business owner, I've got a home. And then Uncle Joe's like, I've got a family, I've got a wife, I've got kids. What? Uncle Joe, how can you have wife and kids? You're like 20 something. Apparently Uncle Joe got married when he was like 22 or something like that. And he got married because his girlfriend fell pregnant. And Uncle Joe used to be a DJ. Uncle Joe's crazy. Uncle Joe's story is crazy. So he's like, I used to be a DJ. And everybody's like, nah, Uncle Joe, you're lying now. He's like, nah, sure, I used to be a DJ. But then I had to quit being a DJ because my wife got pregnant. I had to prove like I'm a good man, solid man. So then we're like, Uncle Joe, you live with your brother at your brother's house. You can't tell me you have a wife and kids. Like, it just didn't make sense in our heads, right? And then Uncle Joe's, that's not my brother. Everybody's like, wait, what? The house where you live in, the guy you live with, like the guy's wife, like the wife and kids that you live with, that's not like your sister-in-law and your niece and nephew. He's like, this hustle, I had this hustle of mine that I used to do, and I made a lot of money and everything. So where I come from, I don't know how to say this without, okay, let's just say fuel business. Okay, he's like, I got into the fuel business and everything, and I was gonna make a lot of money, and yeah, I made a lot of money. But the problem with the fuel business is you gotta invest a lot of money to get returns, blah 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 blah. So basically he was working on a project, and it was kind of like a hit or miss, and he had to kind of pour a lot of money into the investment to get some returns. And at a certain point he was not broke. He was like, I sold everything. I sold the stand, I sold the car. No, he didn't sell it. He borrowed against the house, the properties and the cars and everything. By the way, he's doing all this and his wife doesn't know that he's selling against the properties that he has. And we're like, okay, does your wife know? She's like, she doesn't know. I don't even know what I'm gonna tell her, because right now, that's why I haven't even been home. He hasn't been home in months, because we've now known him for like a few months. So we're just thinking like, bruh. And then everyone's like, yeah, we thought you were like just fresh out of college and you were now living with your brother fresh out of college, but it seems like you are. He's like, no. He's like, let me tell you what happened. He was like, so he used to work basically like, let's say in construction or whatever. He's like, I'm working in construction, I'm working with all these people, and I borrowed a lot against what I had, my property, so I lost a lot of my property. However, these guys let me know that like this lady's really nice. So I went to meet her, and he was like, this lady was like, to me, the first day she met me, she was like, what's a fine gentleman like you working in a place like this? And he's like, nah, like, I'm the manager here, blah blah blah. I work with all these people, like, but I don't do the work. She's like, cool. And then he was like, yeah, it's just that I need like money, blah blah blah. And she was like, I can't give you money, but I can give you this. So the product that he gave her was like enough to like convert into I think construction works better as an example, to get him to move around, because there were requirements and everything. So she basically gave him something that was worth thousands of dollars. And then she was like, where are you guys staying? He's like, when you're living with the construction, you just kind of, wherever you find a home, you make a home. And she's like, nah, you don't have to do that, you can come live with me. And he's like, I don't even love her, I don't even have feelings for her, I'm just doing this for the money. Guys, this guy was living large. Like, when we told you, we thought he was a family member. He lived like a family member. He used to live at the house in like their back yardish, kind of, what do you call it, like their other like the out home, separate home. He used to live in their backyard. He used to drive all their cars. He was obviously sleeping with this woman, but he used to, and that's not something he obviously said. My brain would not have captured that at the time, but now I'm older, I realized that they were having an affair, and he was basically a gigolo. He was basically like earning his keep. So she used to allow his construction guys to sleep over there. She used to cook and feed them and everything, and the kids used to call him Uncle Joe. And I don't think the kids fully understood that Uncle Joe was like who Uncle Joe was, or maybe the uncle culture was like they were used to it. He wasn't the first uncle to come around, but then she really took a liking to him, and Uncle Joe was a really, like, regardless of all his crazy stories and his shenanigans, he was a very responsible guy and everything, to the point that one time we used to carpool with them, to the point where one time we're all getting carpooled in this nice car. I don't even know what kind of car it was. We're all getting carpooled coming back from school, and he's like, by the way, this is a public school. I was not rich. We did not grow up rich. They were rich. We were not. Okay. We carpooling from school, and getting back home, and one of the kids, like one of our friends, says to Uncle Joe, oh wow, like you. And Uncle Joe goes, why'd you say that? He was like, mom doesn't even let dad drive this car, but you are getting to drive it, so mom must really like you, like you're driving a car that nobody else allowed to drive. It was a really nice car. I don't quite remember what kind of car it was, but it was a really nice car. It had leather seats, and it had, when I was younger, I thought having the AC on in the car was like super duper cool. So the AC was on in the car. The car used to smell amazing. It was just a nice car, and it was an SUV. So yeah, Uncle Joe drove us home and everything. So Uncle Joe's now spilling the tea, like, oh yeah, no, I was dating her and everything, and yeah, he ran his construction business out of our house for a while. And people were like, okay, but what happens if the husband, the brother, the actual husband of this woman shows up, rocks up? And guys, honestly, I never even made sense of it, but the husband was never there much, you know. It's like they lived in separate towns. They were together, but they were not together. He was like a well-known like philanderer. He had kind of like a bad reputation, and as I grew older, like his reputation kind of grew. So it was kind of weird, right? It was kind of weird. So yeah, of course, yeah. That's the crazy story of like Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe's wild. I don't quite know whatever happened to Uncle Joe. I'm sure he either sank or swam.